Hi everybody, and welcome to our second Minion meeting for EvilCon 2024, where we're going over special guests and how to interact. Now, first off, to make things easier on everyone, there will be some abbreviations throughout this presentation. Anytime you see the letters SG, that stands for our special guest, all of them as one big group. VA stands for voice actors, and CG stands for cosplay guests. Some things to note. The special guests, especially the VAs, are taken care of by Phil Cohen, the special guest coordinator, Lizzie Sinning, the cosplay coordinator, their assistants, and 2 special guest minions. They will be seeing to the needs of our special guests and making sure that they stay on schedule. This doesn't mean that minions won't be helping out in some ways. Now, if you want to be a special guest minion, one of the 2, here are some requirements. You must have a driver's license and access to a car the whole weekend, and the car must be very clean. You must have volunteered with us before. Special guest minions is not a role we give to first-time minions. We have to get to know you first. You have to feel confident in gently bossing around someone you may be awestruck by. You can't let the special guest run roughshod over you. And some of them might try if they think they can get away with, doing less work and just turning it into a vacation and not sticking to their contract. We've had a couple try that before. So you have to have a backbone and say, no, you need to be here, here, and here at these times. If you are interested in being a special guest minion and you meet all of these qualifications, please email me about it. Now, our voice actors are the most popular special guests we have, and they will have some form of constant supervision. Our cosplay guests are pretty self-sufficient, but they do like to be asked if they need anything or some help, and just generally, be there for them and make them feel like they are actually guests and not just people running around in costume. All right. Now, on to the interaction section of the events. First rule, keeping them comfortable. While our attendees are here to have fun, our special guests, especially the VAs, are here to work. And sometimes they will even do voice work during the con, like Caitlin Glass was recording audio one year in the corner of the minion layer. To make sure things run smoothly, 1, be respectful. If they are sitting silently in a corner, let them be. If they want to socialize, they'll approach you guys, and I do mean that. 2, be calm. When introduced to a special guest, calmly tell them you are happy to meet them. No theatrics or overexcitement. They get enough of that on the floor with the rest of the con goers, but less so than in years past. People are getting a little bit better about being respectful. And thirdly, be helpful. If you aren't busy and a special guest needs something simple, go get them what they need. If you are busy or it's something like leaving the convention center, radio it in on the special guest channel on a headset. Next is keeping them safe. Our attendees can be a bit of an excitable bunch, though less so than in the late 2000s. And if they find that their favorite special guest is all alone, they will corner them. And this is not hypothetical. This actually happened to Micah Solsund on his first trip to EvilCon, and it's what we now call the Situation Micah. They literally cornered him right at the elevators of the convention center, and we had to extract him. It was the poor guy. He didn't realize how famous he'd finally become. Now, this is why our VAs are not really allowed to be on the floor alone, or at least not a lot, because stuff like this happens. So if you happen to find one of them walking alone, if you have a headset, call it in on the special guest channel. Otherwise, find a staff member and tell them. If you do find a VA in a Situation Micah, report it as above. And if you are in uniform, the situation is really bad and you feel comfortable doing so, push past the crowd, walk up to the VA and say something like, "There you are, staff member is looking for you." Then gently guide them out of the crowd and back to the nearest safe area, like the minion layer. Now, keeping the line moving. One of the jobs you may be asked to help with is line herding. While the VAs will be at their tables at a variety of times, sometimes they may get swamped. If this happens, You'll need to keep the line from bunching up. Yell at the people if you must. Use that inner extrovert. Make sure people only have a few items to sign and they have them out before they approach. If they want extra items signed, they can come back at a later time when the line is not so long. If they want photos, make sure they hand you their camera phone before they approach so you can get that photo quickly. If photos are not allowed, make sure to tell people that, especially if you see they have their phone or camera out. People will try to ambush the special guest with a photo request. And we'd rather be the bad guys than make the special guest be the bad guy in telling them this. Remove people from the line if they are causing a disturbance. We don't want those people there. And keep the line moving quickly. Do not let an attendee stand there and talk forever with the special guest. And tell them if you want a longer talk with them, come back when the line is not so long. Now moving on to the dark side of working with special guests. The fact is they're human. It's not always going to be sunshine and glitter. People are varied. Not everyone gets along. Sometimes they may seem to be having an attitude or things like that, but who knows? You don't know what it's like. They are working. So if you hear a special guest gossip about another one or someone else in the industry, you ignore the gossip. Do not pass it along. Any malicious gossip you hear them say. If people hear that we spread those rumors, then guests won't want to work with us. If a special guest seems a bit short or rude with you, try not to take it personally. They are under a lot of stress. And that's the same with if they seem to have a bit of an attitude or they seem to be a bit of an ego. You just don't know what's going on. And they may be having an off day. Everyone does. Now, on the other hand, if a special guest has done something to hurt or distress you, please let me, Phil, or Lizzie know what's going on, and one of us will take care of it. Your health and feelings matter to us as much as theirs do. So what do you get out of this? You get rare access to our special guests that attendees don't. As long as you act like a normal human being and treat them the same way. This includes hearing some hilarious stories, not having to wait in line for autographs at times, and seeing them when they are relaxed and not putting on as much of their public face. And I do mean, you can get some very interesting stories and see good and bad sides of everything and everyone. You will get some amazing stories out of this whole thing, as long as you just remember that they're people too. And here are our last 2 meetings, both of which are in February due to the timing of everything. Our next one will be over service animals, IDs, and more. The more being things like teams and other such things that we'll be doing throughout the convention. It is highly recommended. If you can't make it to this one, you really, really need to watch this one specifically for the service animals portion. So you know what you can ask, what qualifies as a service animal, and how to respond. Just as before, all meetings are on that Sunday at 3 to 4 p.m. in the EvilCon Minion Discord channel. Hope to see you all then.